Guys, what's up? I'm here to film my May wrap-up video. Obviously you can tell the background looks different because I moved. That's the new announcement. I've moved from Sacramento to Oakland, starting a new job. I graduated from law school, so a lot of new things are happening in my life. I don't know why I'm out of breath right now, but yeah, my bookshelves are up because you know that was the first thing I had to do in my new space. Maybe I should do a bookshelf tour. I'm not sure. It wouldn't be that exciting, I don't think, necessarily, because I would just be showing you the books. I've ordered my books in alphabetical order by last name. Used to do color, then I used to do genre, but both of those ways it's really hard for me to find the book that I'm looking for. It's easier for me to just think, oh, Bryant, okay, I'll just look up bees, you know, and so far it's been easier for me. So, but yeah, I'm just going to show you the books I read in May, a really quick overview. Two of the books I read were by Black authors. One book I read was by an Asian American author. Two of the books I read were YA, and then one was nonfiction, and two of them were debut authors. So actually I think three of them may be debut authors. I don't remember for one of the books. First book, Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. Okay. This is a book that ended up being my favorite of the month. It's not usually what I like. It's actually YA romance, but the book is not too focused on the romance part. It's really a coming of age, self-discovery story. In this book, Tessa Johnson has just moved from, I believe, somewhere near Sacramento, actually. I think it's Roseville or something, to Long Beach, and she's starting at a new arts school in the writing program, and she writes romance stories for her and her friend Caroline, but you know, she wants to obviously go to this school, but she has to show her writing to her peers and her teachers, which is really nerve-wracking because she writes romance. And obviously you guys know how romance is stigmatized. It's stigmatized as being super feminine, not prestigious, not very intelligent. And so Tessa's really working through the same things as well. She's like, well, is my writing really good enough? It's a lot of imposter syndrome and self-discovery. And it's a Black girl with natural hair, okay? So yeah, this is a really heartwarming story. And even though it was romance, it's less about the guys. You know, obviously there's a love triangle, and you know, Tessa is a morally gray character, okay? She does pursue a guy who's taken in this book. I don't really care about that though, because I like morally gray characters. A lot of people gave negative reviews because of that on Goodreads. I just find like that to be really silly. Like, who cares if a character is morally gray or morally bad? But this is really heartwarming. It made me cry at the end because of just the way she found herself and found her voice, and realized like not everything's a competition in terms of achieving stuff. Romance is valid, writing is valid. You can be a romance writer and be a prestigious writer, you know? I wrote a review on Instagram. You should check it out because I really wrote about why I love this book so much. The next book I read was Ace, What Asexuality Reveals About Desire, Society, and the Meaning of Sex by Angela Chen. Yeah. This book is a nonfiction book, and it's actually not that long, less than 200 pages, very well cited. This book was super, super interesting. Obviously, if you think you might be asexual, this would be a great book for you. But as the author says, even if you're not asexual, you can learn a lot about this. The reason why I liked this book mainly was for its discussion on sex positivity and why we don't need to focus on sex positivity, but actually we need to focus on sex neutrality. Like, instead of pushing the narrative that sex is pleasurable and inherently good if you're doing it right, just push the idea that like sex is just sex, and if you want to participate you can, if you don't, you don't. And honestly, it's not inherently good or bad, you know? Like, neutrality is like where we want to be, and I really love that she discusses that. Obviously, like she says in this book, the perspectives are pretty limited to what psychologists call weird people, which is like Western, educated, Western educated, I can't remember what the other things stand for, but basically just describes like a class of people that are pretty privileged. So, you know, it doesn't really talk about anyone outside of the US. She does acknowledge that the majority of ace people are white, and so the majority of people, you know, that are available to talk about ace experiences are white, and a lot of these people are college educated. Nonetheless, I think this book is a great primer. Now, was it my favorite nonfiction book? No. And I wrote a review about some of the misgivings I had about this, namely the mention of incels and kind of like almost in a sympathetic way that I didn't really like. I wrote a review about it. I'll link it in the description bar. I think that's something that kind of made me pause about the book, but otherwise it was super good. You just learn so much about how we've been forced to like make sexuality or like the wanting of sex like a political badge. Like, I'm a free woman, so I need to have as much sex as possible. And she kind of gets as to why that's alienating. And so I really like this book. I would check it out. Now, this book that I read, last book, The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas, this book has not been released yet. It will be released in July, this July. I actually interviewed the author because another set of news I should mention. I'm now a blog volunteer for We Need Diverse Books. If you know that organization, you know that organization is about really providing teachers and just all readers with the tools to diversify their bookshelves. So I'm really excited to get involved with that. So The Taking of Jake Livingston follows Jake Livingston, a 16-year-old Black queer boy who goes to St. Clair Prep, a very white prep school, with his brother Benji, and he is a medium. Jake is a medium. He can see ghosts. Usually these ghosts are harmless, and he really just sees them doing the last thing they did before they died, which can be stressful, but it's not necessarily a danger to his life. The book switches perspectives between Jake and Sawyer Dune. Sawyer Dune is a ghost who, when alive, was a white teenage boy, also queer, who shot up Heritage High and killed several students. And unlike other ghosts, he's not harmless, and he actually breaks out of his loop and starts killing other people, and also wants to take over Jake Livingston's body. I would recommend this book. This is a YA thriller, YA horror for anyone who is very interested in astral projection. But, you know, was it my favorite book? No. It wasn't my favorite book. I actually think this is one of the sort of books that would be better as a movie than a book, and I don't say that about a lot of books, but the thing is, a lot of the descriptions were confusing. I don't really understand why Sawyer wanted Jake's body in particular, especially because there's really no connection between them. I mean, there is a kind of comparison between two characters who are queer and kind of isolated from their family and keeps to themselves, but I just wish there was a better explanation of like Jake's powers, because they seem to shift throughout the book. Like, first he's a medium, then he can like control ectomist, and it's like then he can create swords and see auras. It's like, I just wish there was like more consistency in the powers. And then also I wanted a better connection between Sawyer and Jake. Maybe it was just random, but then like just better explain that. I actually wish they had developed the queer part of this book, because Jake ends up having a thing for a new transfer student. I won't say his name, but yeah, and I wish they had developed that relationship more. But you know, it's not bad. I would say give it a chance, and obviously thank you Penguin Teen for sending me an advanced copy of this book. So yeah, those are the 3 books that I read. The Taking of Jake Livingston, Ace, and Happily Ever Afters. I'm not that kind of person who can read 12 books a month. I can really only average 3, max 4, I think, a month. That's just the kind of reader I am. But, you know, overall I would say, will any of these books be in my top 5 of the year? Probably not. I really need to get back into my adult contemporary bag, because I'm really missing that. I like YA, but too much of it, I think, this month made it a little bit harder to read for me. But otherwise, yeah, Happily Ever Afters was the standout for me. I would definitely recommend it. But thank you so much for watching. I want to do some more interesting content now that I kind of have my own space. Maybe I should do a bookshelf tour, but I still have books that didn't fit in these 3 bookshelves, so I have to get another bookshelf, then see what that's looking like. But thank you so much for watching, and yeah, that's my May wrap-up video. Bye.